In the heart of Paris's glittering streets, where city lights battle with dark shadows, Sophia gazes out of her small apartment window. Her eyes hold untold secrets as her gaze fluctuates between the bright city lights and the hidden darkness creeping in the corners of her mind. The sound of a text message on her phone momentarily stops her heart, then sends it racing with unknown urgency. This message marks the beginning of a journey Sophia never imagined she'd embark on, a tale of love, betrayal, and secrets darkening the nights of Paris more than ever. Separated from my city, I had come to Paris for me alone. Paris felt like an ocean or a desert where one stands solitary. Our home is so small it feels like a cage, walls blocked away wherever you turn. I was a bird in a cage, occasionally gazing at the sky through the window, reminiscing about my past. Oh, how my heart yearns for it. My train of thought novels pages are filled mostly with past events. I never tire of revisiting these dreams, the past so sweet that even in wakefulness my soul takes flight back to those days. Often I am snapped out of my reveries by my husband's touch. William, my husband, is a good man, deeply in love with me. When he leaves for work, his last look through the door, his eyes filled with sorrow for me. Until recently, he thought I was free of worries by his side. But when I confessed how the walls seemed to close in on me during the day and how I loathed my loneliness, he became perpetually concerned for me. He calls several times a day from work. One day he expressed his sadness about my feeling of loneliness. He suggested that attending university might help me grow academically and escape this state. Before he even finished speaking, I jumped up, exclaiming with joy, "That's brilliant! Such a fresh idea! Why didn't I think of it myself?" My husband registered me, and I became engrossed in my studies. Soon my life fell into a rhythm. He sometimes smiled meaningfully, seeing me study, bringing me tea, biscuits, and more. The TV was always kept low. Life had revealed its sweeter side to me, although sometimes the wolf of sorrow would attack my senses with memories of the past, causing tears to stream down my face. At the university, I quickly befriended a few women. We would sometimes go to the study hall or walk together in the park. One day, I was waiting for them. They were late. I decided to call to see where they were and why they hadn't arrived yet. When I called, a young man answered. I realized I had dialed a wrong number. We exchanged a few words. He teased me a bit, and I responded. One day while in the study hall, feeling tired, I thought of texting that young man. Second after sending the message, he called. I had no special intention. I just thought to tease him a bit. He asked what I did for a living, and I told him the truth. He asked my age, and I said 23, but lied about being unmarried. He seemed nice, advising me that what I was doing wasn't good and that I shouldn't be in touch with other men. He was caring and listened to me whenever I felt bored. I would call him. I was comforted by the fact that we didn't exchange romantic words or commit any sins, so I felt no guilt or worry. Out of about 20 times we talked, I initiated the call 7 times. I sent him many texts. William didn't pay attention to my phone, and I was at ease with his trust. When a text message sound echoed in the house, he would say, "I'm so glad you could quickly find some close friends for yourself." One morning, as usual, William got up and called for me. I had been feeling listless for some time. That day, when I got up and went to prepare breakfast in the kitchen, I saw him giving thanks in his prayer. He expressed gratitude to God for blessing him with a good wife. Not wanting to interrupt his prayer, I quickly returned to the kitchen. My breath quickened and my face flushed. It felt like my heart was using all its strength to pump blood to my head. My eyes had turned bloodshot. I felt miserable having heard this prayer from him many times before. Hearing his footsteps, I splashed some water on my face to calm down. When William came into the kitchen, Before he could speak, I preempted him, saying, "I don't know why, but I woke up with a headache." William, running late, quickly ate a few bites at my insistence and prepared to leave for work. He looked worried, but I reassured him, "Don't worry, it's nothing. I'll feel better after some rest." As he was saying goodbye, he reached out his hand. I shook it, and after he squeezed my hand, he kissed it. I couldn't bear to look into his kind eyes. Guilt felt like a desert giant choking me. I barely managed to control myself until he left. After William left, I cried loudly, pounding my fist on the kitchen counter, cursing and blaming myself. Seeing his photo where he's smiling and giving me a big rose made me feel even worse. Once I calmed down a bit, I called Thomas. He didn't answer his phone, so I contacted his brother and learned he had another number. I got the number and called Thomas, pleading, "For God's sake, if I mean anything to you, please don't contact me anymore." Then I corrected my words and said, "For your mother's sake, if I make a mistake and contact you, please don't respond." After that, while he was still shocked and silent, I ended the call. A few days later, while talking with William, Thomas sent me a text message. I read the message in front of my husband. Sometimes I feel bad about the excessive trust William has in me. Maybe if he had been a bit more sensitive, I wouldn't have gone so far. Thomas had asked if I was feeling better. In front of William, I replied that I wasn't too bad and sent the message. I don't know why, but my guilt fluctuates. Sometimes I decide not to talk to Thomas again, but at other times I forget everything. When William left for an errand, I quickly called Thomas, telling him I was tired of our communication. Thomas, understanding my feelings, empathized with me and said he could cancel this SIM card so I wouldn't be able to contact him. I told him it was a good idea, but I also had his brother's and mother's numbers. I asked him not to answer when I called him in an emotional state. He admitted he often intended not to, but seeing my name made him respond. His words deepened my attachment. He had become like a vase, and I the plant with roots of devotion around him. Thomas confessed he thought about us a lot. We were in different cities. He couldn't leave for marriage, but he would marry me if he could. His words gave me strength, yet I couldn't accept it, as I deeply love my husband, William. One of my university friends knew about my relationship with Thomas. One day, she asked if I would go with him if we planned to meet somewhere. I said yes, I love him immensely. She asked if I would marry him. I said no. Then she asked if I would reject him if he proposed a relationship. Despite trying to convince myself otherwise, I admitted I love him too much to reject him. My friend burst into tears, accusing me of betrayal. She couldn't believe I'd betray William, whose love for me was well known. Caught off guard, I replied, "Well, pray that God doesn't put me through this test." Maria's reaction was unexpected. I never thought our story would end this way. I told myself it was her jealousy, unable to see someone love another so deeply. I stood up, dusted off my clothes, and started walking home. Days passed. Maria's stern face with teary eyes haunted me. My sleep was disturbed, guilt consumed me, and I cried a lot. William noticed my distress and wanted to help, but I didn't know what to do. I agonized over the disaster that would befall my respectable family if William found out. The excitement of this new story is just beginning. If you want to see what happens to Sophia and William, comment and like. Your thoughts give us energy. Let's witness together how a forbidden love can turn someone's world upside down. We are eager for your engaging comments. At first, I was quite happy with Thomas's idea, but now when I think about it, I realize that for the joy I get from it, there are many sorrows that flood into my mind like a torrent. These thoughts, justifications, and worries are not new to my mind. What's worse is when William returns tired from work. Looking at his weary face, I wish I had died and never come to this day. One day, when my husband William came home from work, he silently made 2 cups of tea, sat down beside me, and asked, "So, my beauty, tell me, what did you do today?" I looked at his innocent face, feeling awful. A lump in my throat was choking me, and I felt so filthy that not even the sea could cleanse me. I couldn't control myself and started crying. William, stunned by my reaction, held my head in his arms, caressed my hair, wept with me, and said in his sad voice, "It's okay, cried it out, let it all go." His love and affection were overwhelming me, and I thought to myself, "God, I don't want to live. I can't bear to witness my own depravity anymore." Maria was right. I had become a beast. A little later, sobbing, I told William, "I'm not okay. I need help. I want to see a counselor." He encouraged me to seek help from a counselor. These days, even though I haven't forgotten Thomas yet, I feel better about myself because I'm working hard to move on with my life. I've accepted the consequences of my past decisions. Realizing true love with William beside me is right here in this moment. I decide to leave my hidden past behind and devote my whole heart to a bright future with my husband William. The next video is a new and thrilling narrative of a tense story. I invite you to watch this video to witness another tale of love and betrayal. In the next video, we await you where every decision leads to unexpected consequences.